Here we go. Another story on deck. He says, am I the a-hole for using our joint savings to hire a PI to prove my wife's affair? Okay, here goes. This is a story of how I found out my wife was cheating and why I don't think I'm the a-hole for using our joint savings to prove it. I didn't want my family or friends to know what I was up to or to let them know my wife was cheating. They would probably talk to her. I didn't want that. One minute you're planning your 10th anniversary trip, the next you're hiring a PI to follow your spouse around town. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My wife, let's call her Audrey, and I met her in college. We were the typical love story. Met at a party, dated for a few years, got married right after graduation. We had our issues like most young couples did, but I assumed we were okay. We were both struggling before we both landed decent paying jobs. We rented a nice starter home, which was perfect for the two of us. Everything seemed like it was in place for our marriage to blossom. But you know what they say about good things that seem too good to be true? It always happens like that. We seem to miss red flags and think everything is fine. It's common. It started with little things. Audrey began working late more often. At first, it was once a week, then twice, then almost every day. She said her company was pushing for a big contract and everyone was putting in extra hours. Made sense, so I didn't question it. Then came the girls' night out that seemed to happen more frequently. From my time narrating stories on YouTube, I am finding out that these girls' nights are not really girls' nights. Again, I didn't think much of it. Audrey worked hard. She deserved to blow off some steam with her friends. Plus, I'm not the controlling type. I trusted my wife. I had no reason not to trust her. The real red flag came when Audrey started guarding her phone like it held state secrets. She'd always been pretty open with her device. We knew each other's passcodes and often used each other's phones to look stuff up or make calls. But suddenly, she changed her passcode and started taking her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. Yep, red flags are blowing in the wind. One night, I woke up to find her side of the bed empty. I heard her voice downstairs, like she was whispering. When I went to check, she quickly ended the call and said it was just her sister having relationship troubles. At 2:15 a.m., something didn't add up. Yeah, right. If it was her sister, she could have stayed in bed right next to her husband and take that call. So while Audrey was in the shower the next morning, I checked our phone bill. There were dozens of calls and texts to a number that seemed to get a lot of attention, often late at night or during her supposed work late nights. My heart started racing a little. I could feel it. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I needed more proof. That's when I made the decision that brought me here. I decided to hire a private investigator. Now, here's where the I am the asshole part comes in. To pay for the PI, I dipped into our joint savings account. It wasn't a small amount either. Good PIs don't come cheap, and I wanted someone thorough. I withdrew $6,000 without telling Audrey. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of money, and it was a joint savings. But hear me out. This was money we'd been saving for our future, for a family we might never have if my suspicions were right. In my mind, I was protecting our future by uncovering the truth. The PI got to work immediately. For 2 weeks, I lived in a state of constant anxiety. Every time Audrey's phone buzzed, every time she said she had to work late, I wondered if this was it, the moment my world would come crashing down. And then it happened. The PI called me at work, saying he had photographic evidence and wanted to meet. I left early, telling my boss I had a family emergency. In a way, I guess I did. The photos were heart-wrenching to look at. There was Audrey, my wife of nearly 10 years, kissing another man outside a hotel. The PI had more, pictures of them having dinner, holding hands in the park, entering and leaving the hotel on multiple occasions. He even had a video of them making out in a park and having sex in their car. Damn, she's trifling. I felt like I was going to be sick. All those late nights at work, all those girls' nights out, lies, every single one of them. The man in the photos, Audrey's co-worker, the one she'd mentioned a few times in passing. Turns out he wasn't just a co-worker. I went home in a daze, the envelope of photos burning a hole in my briefcase. Audrey was already there, watching TV like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just shattered our entire life together. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I threw the envelope on the coffee table, photos spilling out. "You tell me, Audrey, is everything okay?" Her face went white. She immediately tried to deny it, said the photos were fake, that I was crazy. But as I laid out everything, the late nights, the secretive phone calls, the changes in her behavior, she broke down. Turns out, the affair had been going on for months. She swore it didn't mean anything, that she still loved me, that we could work it out. But how do you come back from something like that? What the fuck? Why does almost every woman who cheats say this? So she can cheat again if he takes her back. I left that night, found a hotel. I wasn't staying with family or friends, didn't want them being nosy. Over the next few days, I barely ate or slept. I called in sick to work, ignored calls from friends and family. I just needed time to process. When I finally went back home, Audrey was there, eyes red from crying. She begged for another chance, said she'd do anything to make it right. I didn't believe a word coming out of her mouth, but a bigger part knew that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to fully repair. I told her I wanted a divorce. She cried, pleaded, got angry, then cried some more. My mind was made up and I was becoming indifferent by the minute. I couldn't stay in a marriage where I'd always be wondering, always be suspicious. That's when she noticed the bank statement on the coffee table, saw the $6,000 withdrawal. "You used our savings to spy on me?" she yelled. And I said, "How could you fuck up our marriage by sleeping with another man?" She threatened to tell everyone that I had invaded her privacy, that I was controlling and paranoid. I told her to go ahead. I had nothing to hide. The next few months were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and dividing up our life. It was messy and painful, but I knew it was the right decision. Audrey moved out, and last I heard, she was still seeing the coworker. Good luck to him. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? As for me, I'm slowly putting my life back together. It's not easy starting over at 35, but it's better than living a lie. I've started therapy, getting back into shape, even joined a support group for people going through divorce. It helps to know I'm not alone in this. But here's the thing that still nags at me. Was I wrong to use our joint savings to hire the PI? Part of the money was hers, and to my surprise, I didn't have to pay the money back. It wasn't brought up at the divorce hearing. Not sure if that was an oversight on the judge and her attorney. Well, I am assuming because it was joint, they both had access to it. He just beat her to it. But another part feels justified. If I hadn't done it, how long would the affair have continued? How many more lies would I have believed? I've talked to friends about it, and opinions are split. Some say I had every right to uncover the truth, especially since Audrey was the one who broke our vows first. Others say I should have confronted her directly instead of hiring someone to follow her. Looking back, I don't regret my decision. Yes, it was a lot of money. Yes, it was underhanded, but it gave me the proof I needed to make a clean break, to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was making the right choice in ending our marriage. The way I see it, that $6,000 brought me the truth. Yeah, it did. And the truth, painful as it was, set me free. It allowed me to start healing, to move on with my life instead of living in suspicion and doubt. But I get why some people might see it differently. Maybe I should have trusted my gut and confronted Audrey directly. Maybe I should have suggested couples therapy first. But why couples therapy? Why waste money on that? That's not guaranteed to solve your problems. But when you're in that situation, when your whole world is crumbling around you, you don't always think clearly. I'm not proud of how things ended with Audrey, but I am proud of myself for having the courage to uncover the truth and walk away. It would have been easier to bury my head in the sand, to pretend everything was fine. But that's no way to live. So, am I the asshole for using our joint savings to hire a PI? Maybe, but I'd rather be an asshole with the truth than a fool living a lie. Since posting this story, I've received an overwhelming response. It seems like everyone has an opinion, and honestly, it's been both comforting and overwhelming to know how many people have been in similar situations. A lot of people have asked what happened next, so here's a quick update. The divorce was finalized 6 months ago. It was tough, but I got through it. Audrey tried to use the PI thing against me in the settlement, but my lawyer pointed out that her infidelity was a real issue. In the end, we split everything 50-50, which I think is fair. I'm still in therapy, working through the trust issues this whole ordeal left me with. It's a process, but I'm getting there. I've downloaded a few dating apps, but after looking at a few YouTube videos, everyone is saying those dating apps are a waste of time. Why are you downloading dating apps? It's too soon. You need to heal first. As for Audrey, last I heard, she and the coworker didn't last. Surprise, surprise. She reached out a few months ago saying she'd made a huge mistake and wanted to try again. I politely declined. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. Looking back, I still don't think I'm the asshole in this situation. Was hiring a PI the most ethical choice? Hell yeah, it was. I don't think I would have found out. But when you're desperate for the truth, sometimes you do desperate things. To those who've said I should have trusted my gut and confronted Audrey directly, you're probably right. Hindsight is 20/20, and if I could do it all over again, maybe I would have done things differently. But I can't change the past, only learn from it. For anyone out there suspecting their partner of cheating, my advice would be this: trust your instincts, but also be prepared for the consequences of your actions. In the end, I'm grateful for the support and advice I've received from this community. It's been a long, hard road, but I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and for that, I'm thankful. So, that's my story, a tale of love, betrayal, and yes, a private investigator. It's not the happily ever after I imagined when I said I do all those years ago, but it's my reality, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather face a harsh truth than live a comfortable lie. And if that makes me an asshole in some people's eyes, well, I can live with that too. Well, in my opinion, he made a statement about couples counseling. I don't get it. If you already passed the breaking point, why waste money? Couples counseling is not a guarantee for success. Plus, if you don't trust her, what good will counseling do? Delay the inevitable? What if she cheats again? Think the money they spent on counseling was worth it? Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.